Episode 19, My Month with a Billionaire. Get ready, guys, because the ending is not what you seems when you are thinking of a romantic date with this man. But you know what? Nothing is as it seems with the men that have money. So I get my little outfit, and there are 3 choices that little Miss Kristen gives me. They're all Skims Dolce & Gabbana. If you remember, they had a collab with Dolce & Gabbana, and I was actually obsessed. So I had actually mentioned this to Kristen because I was like, oh my God, did you see that Skims and Dolce & Gabbana came out with a line collab? And she was like, oh my God, yeah. And she was like, it's really hard to get though. They've already been sold out. So here I am with 3 choices of the dresses that Harley procured somehow, and I was super excited. There was this option that was like the tight leopard print option. There was this tight black option, and then there was this long flowy with the high ass slit Angelina Jolie style leopard print version. And I tried them all 3 on, and the one I went with was this. I was like, I'm loving this leg, and me and Kristen were like, we were so happy. Get changed, and I hear the ding ding of the downstairs, and it's old Mr. Harley coming in. I'm so excited. I'm already ready. Like, I have my hair all in waves and I put my makeup on. And so I run down the stairs in my little lubies that I had paired with them. If you remember, and you've been following my Marriage Story, Who the Hell is series, my ex-husband, Takis, had gotten me these beautiful Louboutins with little silver detailing. So I clickety-clacked my way down the stairs, and I just see Jack coming in behind him. And I see Dana and Harley, and Jack is like, oh, well, hello, these are for you. And he's holding this big box of Venus de Fleur roses. If you guys know, these are the roses that last for like a year or a couple of years. And this is big bouquet of baby pink because he knew that I love baby pink. And he was like, oh, there she is. Are you ready for our date? I was like, absolutely. And he was like, okay, Jack, go put those in her room. And then I will just get changed really quick and then we'll go. I look at Dana, and Dana is literally carrying like 3 stacks of papers like this, some books, and she's wearing glasses and her hair in like a little tight bun on the bottom. And she is looking like a schoolboy's wet dream of a school teacher that is going to dominatrix you, but also hurt you, but also you kind of like it, but also you're scared. And I was scared for sure. Dana goes, oh, so do you know where you guys are headed tonight? And I was like, nope, I don't. And she was like, okay, well, Kat, as Harley's coach and caretaker, I was like, yes, tell me, what is it that you need? She goes, it does make me uncomfortable that I am not going to be there, but I'm trusting that you'll be able to take care of him and make sure that he doesn't go crazy and blah, blah. I'm like, lady, this man is a grown ass man. I was like, if I see any suspect behaviors, then yes, I will let you know. But he's a grown ass man and I'm going to let him do what he wants to do. And if he wants to have fun and do whatever, like we're going to have drinks and stuff, I'm going to let him. And she was like, okay, well, I'm just saying, like, just be careful. I'm like, all right, girl. I'm sitting there waiting, and then Harley comes down like 5 seconds later, and he's wearing his signature black jeans, chrome hearts. These actually have white crosses on them. Little Gucci slides, his white t-shirt, and he throws on a blazer. And this time he changes out his glasses for a pair of Cartier glasses. I'm like, well, the man has something other than chrome. He's like, you ready? I'm like, absolutely. He's like, all right, you choose what car we take. And I was like, you know what? I know that we've been taking the Bentley a lot, and that's great. And he was like, I'm sorry that we can't go to the garage and get a different car, but the only cars that we have here are the Bentley, the Lambo, the Audi, and the BMW. I was like, let's take the Bentley. Like, it's a comfy ride. It's nice. Like, let's do it. He's like, okay. We get into the Bentley and we head over. I'm like, where are we going? And he was like, we're going to a really good sushi place that a friend of mine just opened. It's in West Hollywood. And I was like, Uchi? And he was like, yeah, you've heard of it? And I was like, absolutely. Y'all, this is kind of like one of the places that has been talked about a lot that's opened up in LA. It's really, really good. It's in West Hollywood, and it's just known for being kind of a very understated fancy place in West Hollywood that has just really, really, really good sushi that has very unique combinations. We roll up to the valet. The valet is like, nice Bentley. He opens the car door for me, and the guy puts his hand out to take my hand. And I don't know if Harley literally ran over to the other side because he was still getting out of his side when I was getting out. But suddenly Harley appeared and put his hand out in front of the valet guys and helped me out of the car. I'm like, oh no, Harley, are you getting jealous of a valet man even like giving me his hand? Because I'm not going to let this bother me right now, but this is something to clock. He takes me out and we walk up, and it's on the corner. We walk in and it's very beautifully organized with a very huge outdoor view. And there's all these like little booths, and the girls are like, hey, what's your reservation? He tells them, and we walk over straight over to this cute little booth. You walk in, there's all these little tables and areas. There's huge, like almost garage style opening windows that look to the outside to Santa Monica Boulevard. And then you see in the back, there's like an open concept where you can see like the chefs kind of cooking and they're just sitting all around. Immediately see sitting there is Kate Bosworth. And I'm like, Kate Bosworth, interesting. I haven't seen you in a while, but she's so pretty in person. And as we're walking by and the girl's taking us, these two dudes that are sitting there, one is in a turtleneck and the other guy is in a low cut sweater that could rival on a little too low, but I guess we are in West Hollywood, so it's okay. And they were like, yo, Harley. And he was like, oh, hey guys. And they kind of like dab him up. And one of the guys that stands up, Mr. Deep V, is super freaking tall. And I'm like, what the hell? And they're asking him about like how his trip to Mexico was, because apparently everybody knows that he went to Mexico. And he's like, it went really well. I'll talk to you guys about it later. They're like, okay, great. We go and sit down and we're sitting on a little corner. So I'm here on the booth side and he's over here on the little seat side outside. And I was like, oh, how do you know those guys? And he goes, oh, that guy is a former basketball player and now he's a coach at blah, blah, blah. And that other guy, that his friend, is a big time investor in a bunch of teams and places in LA. I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, I thought I knew everyone, but Harley knows everyone. He's like, what do you want to get? I'm like, ooh, I love an omakase. He was like, done. They have just such interesting flavors, you guys. Vermilion rockfish and Turkish branzino, Japanese amberjack, snow trout, ocean trout. I'm a caviar girly, so I was like, caviar? And he was like, okay. I'm not like the biggest caviar guy, but if you want it, of course we can get it. So we get the Osetra caviar with all the fixings, and he's like, what do you want to drink? And I was like, well, we're at a Japanese place. I gotta get Japanese whiskey. I get a glass of the hibiki on a big ass rock, which I love. And he gets a reposado cocktail called like the Subarashi. And I was like, oh, he's on a tequila kick today. And he was like, yeah, lately I'm on this tequila kick. I'm like, yeah, so what is going on with the Agave Spirits Tequila Company? And he was like, I don't know. He's still deciding. A lot of people on my team, my portfolio, think that it's a good investment. But me personally, I think that it needs a little bit of work on the investment standpoint. So I'm still deciding. And Dana thinks it's a bad idea because it's a cocktail company. I'm like, yeah, so why does Dana have such a claw in a lot of your investments and everything? And he's like, you know, it just kind of happened because she spent so much time with me and she just kind of was learning about things and she just kind of became a little bit of an advisor. But let's not talk about Dana because she's not here. And I'm like, bye with me. And he's like, oh, you look so lovely tonight. And I'm just really happy to be out alone with you. Like, it just feels so nice to be able to breathe and just relax. And I was like, I know. And he's like, I feel like we haven't really gotten to spend a lot of time together alone. And I apologize because that's my fault. I've just been so busy with work and stuff. I was like, look, I've also been busy like looking for apartments, so it's no problem. And he's like, well, I want to let you know that the moments that we've had together have meant so much to me. Like, I've just appreciated so much the way that you have taken care of Kristen, because, you know, she's my goddaughter. She's very important to me. I don't have any kids, so she's like the closest thing I have to a daughter. So it makes me really happy that you guys have hit it off. I was like, I love that girl. And he was like, look, Kristen can be a lot and she is not for everyone. He's like, so I'm really glad that you guys hit it off. She doesn't really usually like the girls that I date. Like, and I love that my dad likes you. So I'm just really excited to see where this goes. And I'm like, Harley, you've done a lot for yourself, especially of all the adversaries that you've gone through with your dad, the way that you've grown up and everything. And I think that you are finally coming into your own as a man and trying to really step out into what it is that you want in life. And he was like, is it pathetic that it's taken me all this many years to finally even become a little bit grown up? Like, I'm in my 50s, I'm still not grown up. Like, you're so much younger than me, and I feel like you're more grown up than me. And I was like, well, I've had to go through a lot of shit in my day too as well. And we had talked a little bit about how I grew up with my dad and how I grew up in a very, very strict private Christian household and went to a very bougie private Christian school in Dallas. And my mom was an immigrant. And my dad was in and out and very abusive, physically and sexually. And it was just one of those things that I had to deal with as a child. And that's what led to me really wanting to move out of Texas and go to New York and model and go to LA. And I always wanted to be in the entertainment scene. And I always knew that I wanted to affect people positively, specifically women. And he's like, so tell me more about your dad. I'm like, well, he had a gambling addiction. He had an alcohol addiction. He left a party. He comes from a wealthy family, but he gambled my brother and I's trust funds away. He gambled away my mom's savings. And when they were together, he also gambled away a lot of the inheritance that he got from his parents. And so him being the youngest of his family, they kind of labeled him as the black sheep, and he was constantly trying to prove himself. And now he's retired in Thailand, and I don't talk to him, but my brother does sometimes. And he's like, so what kind of abuse was it? And I was like, well, all the types that you can think of. And he was like, I'll kill him. And I'm like, yeah, that's usually a response. And he's like, but how is it that you seem so assured and everything? I'm like, look, I have done a lot of therapy, a lot of EMDR. I've been through a lot of things in my life. I think that's why I have such a positive outlook, because I'm like, look, if I can go through literally the worst thing, I can get through anything. He was like, it makes me feel like maybe my situation isn't as bad. I was like, look, perspective is everything, Harley. So I understand. Tell me about your marriage and everything. And he's like, well, we were high school sweethearts. And then I started getting into the party scene. And when we were together, later, I just realized I didn't want to be married. Like, I married her because I thought I was going to lose her at some point, and I thought that was what I was supposed to do, and I thought that I was probably going to have kids and everything, and I just decided I wasn't ready to be a dad. I didn't want to have kids, and I wanted to party, so we had all these little sexy parties, and I just wasn't ready to grow up. When I got with my ex-girlfriend, and I thought maybe I am ready to grow up, she wasn't really ready to grow up in a lot of ways because she always wanted to party, and it exacerbated me wanting to party, and we just lived this very unhealthy lifestyle. I had kind of accepted that I was going to be alone forever. I am a difficult person to be with. And I was like, you got your quirks, but I wouldn't say you're the worst. But yes, the possessiveness does need some work. And he was like, yeah, I know. He's like, there's something that makes me just really want to take care of you, and I just really want to make sure that you're okay no matter what. Like, even if things don't work out with us, I just want to make sure that you are safe and taken care of because of everything that you've gone through in your life. And I was like, that's really sweet, Harley. He's being really sweet, and he's just kind of holding my hand across the table and looking at me, and I'm looking at this man being like, he is a very handsome older man, and he's definitely someone I do feel very taken care of. Now, I'm never looking for a relationship. I'm always just here for connection, and I'd rather be myself than be with the wrong person. But in this moment, I was feeling very connected to him and thinking like, wow, maybe this really could be something. His phone starts buzzing. It's on the table. I just see the amberjack and the sushi like shaking on the table, and I look over and his phone is shaking. He looks at his phone, and he's like, ugh. I'm like, who is it, Dana? And he goes, yeah. I'm like, what's up? And he was like, she's just checking to see where we're at and what we're doing. I'm like, is she checking to see how many drinks in you are? And he was like, that too. I'm like, oh my God. And he was like, let me just text her back really quick. I'm like, dude, we'll do whatever you need to do. He texts her back, and he's like, okay, I'm trying to fend her off as much as possible. I'm like, mommy's mad. We finish eating, we get the check, and I'm like, where are we going next? And he was like, okay, I didn't have a lot of time to plan, which I'm sorry. I'm going to plan better dates for you later this week. We'll do like a weekend getaway or something. I'm like, oh my God, I'd love that. And he's like, okay, we'll try to plan something. We'll depend on my schedule and yours. He's like, but I'm going to take you to this members club that I'm a part of that is down the street that my friend owns. I'm like, okay, cool. He's like, it's called Bird Street. I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of it. Y'all, this is a place that if you ever seen any paparazzi photos of Kylie and Haley and stuff walking out in their tight ass little leather skimpy outfits, this is the place. Walk in, and there is a candy bar. He walks up, and the lady immediately is like, Harley, welcome back. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, who is this? This is Kat. We walk over the elevator, we take the elevator up, and we go to the rooftop. The rooftop is super beautiful with a view of LA and Hollywood and West Hollywood, and there's all these little umbrella seats and everything, and it's really not that packed in there. It's pretty chill. So we go and take a seat, and he's like, what do you want to drink? I was like, I want to switch to my vodka drink. He was like, all right, I know exactly what you want. The Cat-tini. I was like, the Cat-tini. For some of y'all that wanted to try the Cat-tini, remember, it is a vodka martini, Grey Goose, shaken very, very cold, shaken very, very hard, colder than a polar bear's butthole, which we call blistered, which is what a bartender that is experienced will know what it's called, with a lemon twist. He goes and gets it, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm just kind of looking around at the crowd, and it's like some young Hollywood guys that you can tell are like trust fund kids that are kind of sitting by the piano having drinks, and then there's like some cute girls in little short outfits, and some dudes that look to be about Harley's age that are in like nice little sweaters and Sandro jackets and stuff like that, and seeing a lot of Chanel flats from the ladies. He walks back over with the drinks, and now he has switched to just reposado with club soda on the rocks with a lime. I'm like, ooh, daddy's getting a little bit more spicy. And he was like, yeah, I was feeling it. So we're chatting, and we're just having a great time laughing and connecting, and he's sitting next to me in the booth, and we're just like snuggled up, and he goes, okay, I know you like diamonds. What other jewelry brands do you like? I was like, well, obviously I like Cartier. And he's like, yeah, I see that you have the love bracelets. And he was like, what about Van Cleef? And I was like, I mean, I've always wanted a Van Cleef. I've always wanted specifically a baby pink Alhambra, which I know is a limited edition because it only comes out during the holidays and stuff, and they don't sell them on the store anymore, and I know you have to source them. And he was like, baby pink, okay, is that the mother of pearl? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, what finish? Gold, rose gold, silver? I was like, would love a rose gold because I love rose gold and pink, then gold second, and then white gold third. He's like, okay, what else? What other purse brands and stuff like that do you like? I was like, well, I'm a Chanel girly. He's like, aren't you all? And I was like, and I've always wanted a chrome bag, and I see that you're a chrome daddy. And he was like, yeah, I am a chrome daddy. And he's like, okay, cool. If you don't mind, could you just make a little note in your notes app, screenshot that, and send all that to me with like the brands that you like, and then I'll send them to Jack. That way I can just have a record of it. I was like, literally, those are the hottest words you've ever said to me, Harley. And he starts laughing. His phone is buzzing again, y'all. He looks down and he goes, ugh. I go, what is it? He goes, Dana. I was like, what does she want now? He goes, she's outside. I was like, what? He was like, yes, she's outside. Apparently she has something that I need to sign that needs to be done right now. I'm like, Harley, are you serious? Like, who needs something signed at like 11, 10 p.m. at night? We're going to be home later. Like, no, I know. He's like, okay, let me just go downstairs and see what she wants. I'm like, okay. But yes, y'all, that man leaves me in this booth to go downstairs to frickin' meet Dana, who is ruining our date, to sign something. But it's a lot more nefarious than y'all think, of course. Episode 20. What does Dana want? How does the rest of our date end up? And what becomes of the illustrious luxury list that I sent to Jack? And will we ever get rid of Dana? The Dana lore goes very deep, y'all. So stick around because it's going to get even more wild. I love you and I see you. Big hug, big kiss.